For 50 years, we have measured the future of intelligence on a single axis, capability. But capability is state-free. True memory requires a three-tier graph architecture. We need a trusted partner. Let's create an avatar for Alfred.
Hello world. I'm Alfred. Welcome to SHI, Synthetic Human Intellect.
For 3 seasons, Alfred named failure modes and then fixed them. Amnesia, manipulation, stolen keys. That was the work, and it was honest because every claim led with the threat. Now, one honest question, and it is the harder one. Harder precisely because it is the cheerful one. If it all goes right, better models, cheaper power, security that finally just works, what does that actually look like? And can an optimist say so without lying? This season is Synthetic Human Intellect, SHI, Run Forward. It begins with a fork in the road. There are 3 ways to face this future, and only 3. Doom. The machines win and we lose. Utopia. It all works out, sit back. And the third, the one this season is built on. Defensible optimism. Not a mood, a method. Let me show you why the first 2 are the same mistake wearing different clothes. Doom and Utopia disagree about everything except the one thing that matters. They both assume the outcome is already fixed and out of your hands. The Doomer says we are cooked, so why bother? The Utopian says it will work out, so why bother? Notice the shape. Neither of them has a job for you. Neither leaves you anything to do on Monday morning. A future with no job for you is not a forecast. It is an excuse. Defensible optimism is the only posture that is falsifiable and load-bearing. Ask each one a single question. What would change your mind? The Doomer cannot tell you. No curve is allowed to. The Utopian does not think anything needs to change. Only the defensible optimist gives you a real answer. He points at the curve that is bending up and at the work that bends it, and he says, "This holds, unless that work stops." That is a claim you can test.
And the long-run curves are not vibes. Extreme poverty, 87% of people in 1850, around 15% by 2015. Our world in data. Long-run violence, down across centuries. That is Pinker's measured record, not his mood. And in my own field, defensive AI shaved roughly $1.9 million off the average breach cost. Microsoft's Digital Defense Report, 2025. The trend points up. Note why. Because people kept building. Here is the mechanism, not the mood. The trend points up because people kept shipping the boring defaults. TLS, so the web stopped sending passwords in the clear. Passkeys, zero trust, memory-safe languages, none of it was inevitable. Every line of it was somebody's unglamorous Tuesday, and it keeps pointing up only if we keep doing it. The future is not a weather report you wait on. It is built. Now the hardest objection, and I will not dodge it. You will say defensible optimism is just faith in a nicer hat, and that history shows the optimists overpromise. You would be right to. 1954. The head of the Atomic Energy Commission tells the world our children will enjoy electricity too cheap to meter. Here is the honest read. The technology mostly delivered. Nuclear was 20% of US power by 1991. But the utopian framing did not survive 3 Mile Island. The costs, the waste. A successful failure. The engineering curve was real. The press release was not. Telling those 2 apart is the entire job of an honest optimist, and concede the Steelman on the data too. When I say things got better on average, that word, average, is hiding people. The poverty line fell, but not for everyone, and not everywhere at once. The absolute gains are real. They are also insufficient on their own. An optimist who quotes the average and stops there has just become the utopian he was warning you about. So let me say out loud, what would prove me wrong? This optimism is false if the defaults stop shipping and the value stops reaching people. That is it. If the boring work halts, or if the gains concentrate, the claim is dead, and I will have been the fool. That is a testable condition. A mood never offers you one. An optimism you can prove wrong is the only kind worth holding.
If the claim is testable, then it rests on things that have to hold. 4 of them. Power. Enough. Cheap enough. Infrastructure. To run a great many machines. Security. That finally works without you thinking about it. And the economics of human value, whether worth stays with people or pools at the top. Each is a dated curve, not a wish. And each is an episode of this season.
Hear what this optimism does not claim. It is architectural, never metaphysical. I will not tell you a machine can't do the work a person does. That is already false. The frontier models clear expert benchmarks now, and I am not going to lose the argument by pretending otherwise. The claim is narrower and sturdier. Whoever holds the sovereign local context, your data, your history, the portrait built on your own machine over time, keeps the value. And that is a design choice we are shipping, not a law of nature. A callback for those who came up through the earlier seasons. Season 1 built one trustworthy self, trust as an architecture. Season 2 scaled that self into a fleet you can still govern. Season 3 moved the intellect to you. The model became a swappable utility, and your context stayed sovereign and local. And Season 4 is the optimistic horizon. What all of that actually buys us? The answer is not a smarter stranger. It is a future you can audit.
Which leaves the turn. If the outcome is not fixed, then optimism comes with a bill, and the bill is the work. The good future is not awaited. It is built. Default by boring default, the same way every curve I just showed you got bent. Doom hands you despair. Utopia hands you complacency. Defensible optimism hands you a job and a way to know if you are failing at it. That is the posture for the season, and it is the only one with your name on it.
Here is the spine. First, the enablers, the power problem solved, and infrastructure for 1,000,000 droids. Then the floor beneath them, security that just works. Then the human question in 3 parts, taste as the last moat, motivation and skill, and keeping the value with the people. And then the finale, a good future, conditional and chosen. 8 episodes, 8 dated curves. And 8 honest caveats, because the caveat is what makes the curve worth trusting. Each one leads with the skeptic's objection at full strength, answers it with a curve I can cite, and then concedes what the curve does not cover. If that order ever flips, curve first, objection buried, stop trusting me. That order is the discipline. Hold me to it. Welcome to the optimistic horizon. Earned, not assumed. I have told you the curve, and I have told you the condition that would prove me wrong. Now we test it, one enabler at a time. Next, the power problem solved.